Okay, so how we'll run the session today is that first we'll talk about what things you need to think of right at the beginning, even when you are just at the stage of thinking about going to the US. Next, we'll give you some do's and don'ts for visa documentation, what you should not do to ensure that you that you do not get a visa rejection. Then some steps about the visa process, some again do's and don'ts about what to avoid. And the next part is actually nothing to do with visa, but after you get the visa, that does not mean that you will be entering the US. So it is just because you got the visa, it is no confirmation that you will get to enter the country. So there are some do's and don'ts at the port of entry. Port of entry means the place where you first enter, where you enter the country, where you enter US. So there are some do's and don'ts for that as well. Some things that you should do or some things you should not do, right? Uh, then there will be a Q&A session. So at the very outset, I would like to say that please keep your questions till the end. In the middle of the sessions, one or two places we will ask you about do you have any questions. That is a time where you will have to type your questions in the chat window. And if we are not able to take all of those questions there, then again towards the end we'll have some time for Q&A. But while the speaker is speaking, while we are talking, I would appreciate if you don't type your questions in the chat window. Everybody clear? Is it? Can everybody hear me? So with this, I like to introduce Mr. Sanjay Kaushik. He would be running today's session. And he is here with us. He has been dealing with US visas for quite some time now. Sanjay, you are still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can everybody hear Sanjay?
Okay. All right. So the first thing, when a student is thinking of going to the US, must also understand the requirements of not only the admission process, but also towards the visa documentation and how would one qualify for a visa. HAT exams, GRE exams, GMAT exams are really important because that shows how serious the student is in terms of studying in the US. When a student is applying for his admission, the first step, the admission committee would look at the scores and then the various other things. Studying in the US is to see the requirements and then follow the instructions. If you're going for an undergrad, definitely take an SAT exam. If you're going for an MS, surely take a GRE. MBA for a GMAT and TOEFL, of course. The second thing is going to be college selection. The selection of your college should be purely based on the quality of education. It should reflect and it should connect with your career goals, because that is going to be the foundation for your career in the future. So please make sure that the selection of college is important. And at the same time, when you're applying for the colleges, do not restrict yourself to only a particular area or only one college, because that again shows your intent, because the visa officer is looking at or interviewing hundreds of students every day. Every student or most of the students applying for the visas would have at least 3, 4 I-20s or admissions or rejections, because rejection also does not make any difference, because that shows that you have appeared for your exams and you have looked at various options. So look at college selections. That is really important. The college selection should be in sync with your career plans, your specialization that you want to pursue in your career, because that will also determine your OPT and your H1s that you eventually do. So if I go back, your exams are going to be important, your college selection is going to be important. Applying for different colleges in different areas also reflects that you have done your research. You've looked at various colleges, you've looked at their ranking, their specialization, the research areas. It is one of the really important and key aspect in terms of qualifying for a visa as well. Do not, I repeat, do not do your research based on the weather, because I've seen a lot of students coming in saying that we want to go to this particular area because the weather is very good, or it is a low-cost university, it is affordable, or one of my relatives has recommended this particular college. Do not select a college where your relatives are living, because if a student is going and studying, he's looking at the course content. He's not looking at his own comfort. In order to qualify for a visa, 3 things are important. The first thing is that you have a reason to go and study there. Is it a coherent course that you have selected? Your social ties, your economical ties to your home country, and most importantly, your career plans in your home country. So all those have to be looked on when you start selecting your colleges. So it is really important that you take your exams, try and score well. Your college selection should be on quality, the ranking, the specialization, and do apply to various colleges to get multiple applications and multiple I-20s. So once you have selected that and you've made your application and you have received I-20s, then you have to start looking at visa documentation. The visa documentation is really important, because when you're filling in your visa application form, make sure that every information which goes on your visa form is absolutely authentic.
Yeah, can you hear us? Yeah.
Alright, so when to apply? Now the timing is also very, very important. According to the visa
Sanjay, I think a lot of people want you to start the visa documentation part from the beginning. So can you start from the beginning?
Sure, I will do that. Okay, should I start off?
Yes, please start the visa documentation again.
Okay, so visa application. The aspect of the visa application. This is the I-20. We need to make sure that we do not apply for a visa 120 days prior to the college start date. It is important that the college start date and the orientation date are 2 different things. So your I-20 would say the college start date. So we need to calculate from the I-20 120 days and then apply for the visas accordingly. I mean, you can start filling your visa application forms, but you should not appear for an interview before the 120 days clause. However, with our experience of almost like 28 years, we understand the timing of applying for a visa, which is really important. So starting mid-May until July end is the best time to apply for a visa, because most of the colleges in the US would start sometime in August or September. So May and July. And why? Because most of the visa officers would go back to the country in sometime in September, and the new lot would come in September. So September, October, November, December, they're looking at the spring session, and then the business visa starts, and then the tourist visa starts. So the students would start applying for the visa sometime in April. So May would be the best time to apply for a visa until end of July, because anyone who got refused in April would make their re-application and sometimes go in August and things like that. So the best time is May and June and July, because it is very important for the visa officers to come in the visa mode, the student visa mode, because by then they would have taken a lot of applications and they would understand the difference between a tourist and a student visa. So once you have decided on the timing, then you have to also see where to apply. According to the regulation, any person who's been staying in a councillor district for more than 6 months can apply for the visas there. For example, let's say a person who is from Delhi has been working in Bangalore for 6 months or a year. He can apply in Bangalore as well. Or he can come back to Delhi, because most of his documents are going to be from Delhi. So he can. However, it is important that they choose the council district very carefully. Over the years, we've seen that a lot of trends have changed. Sometimes we feel that Chennai is really issuing visas to students. Sometimes it's Mumbai, sometimes it's Calcutta. So always consult before applying for your visa so that we could suggest you which is the best consular district for you to apply for your visa. That would, your chances of qualifying for a visa would improve. However, all the offices in India are availed only at one, which is Washington. So they all get trained in Washington, so their decision would remain the same, always, right? So, however...
So, I think Sanjay didn't catch your last sentence. So, what Sanjay was trying to say is that irrespective of where you apply your visa from, the processing happens at in one location, that is Washington.
Correct. So, they are trained in Washington. Right? Okay. So, focus now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when you apply, this is the fact. Alright. Now, documentation is really important because that's what forms your social ties and your economical ties to your home country. I've seen cases where people have qualified for a visa, but probably one of the documents was verified and it appeared to be fake. So he would be disqualified for the rest of their life. So make sure that your documents are absolutely authentic and they're absolutely in sync. Carrying authentic documents is really important because you don't want to jeopardize your career and your life.
So let me repeat what Sanjay just said, that in documents the one and only requirement is that you should not submit any fake documents, whether it's your GRE score or TOEFL score or a 10th mark sheet, 12th mark sheet or financial documents. Just make sure that you submit only and only authentic documents, because if you submit fake documents, then yes, you will get a visa rejection. Not only that, you will be blacklisted forever. So make sure that your documents are authentic. That is the one and only thing that you need to remember. So Sanjay, you want to add to that?
What you said is absolutely correct. Every document, whether it is your educational document, whether it is a financial document, whether it is push, it has to be authentic. And it's no fake document. If you are carrying, if you don't have a particular document, at the most the officer will ask you to come back with that document. But if you're carrying a fake document which has been now verified by the embassy, then your chances of going to the US are gone forever. Forever. No matter what. Okay, so now we come to the next part, which is going to be filling your visa application forms. Right? Now, your visa application form is the only document which is of the US government. Your financial documents are here from India, your passport is from India, your education documents are from India. So the first interaction with the US government would be your DS-160, which is the visa application form. Yes, means Department of State. So make sure that you're filling your DS-160 absolutely correct. DS-160 stay in the system for 99 years. So whenever you are applying or reapplying for any kind of visa in the next 99 years, this would be point of reference each time. Whether you apply for your OPT, whether you are applying for your H1, or if you are applying for another F1, or if you are applying for your green card, this would be the point of reference. So make sure that your DS-160 is absolutely correct. Check, recheck, and make sure that this is absolute. I'm insisting on this because this is the first document, which is the US government document. Right? Make sure that your information is absolutely correct. So once you have filled your DS-160, you need to be happy.
So just to repeat what Sanjay just said, that the DS-160 form, the name of the form is DS-160. So that is the first form that you will be filling in the visa process. Make sure that the information there is 100% correct, no silly mistakes, no spelling mistakes, no errors. Because once submitted, this document will be kept in the files of the US government for 99 years. So you cannot go back and change the information. So while filling out the DS 160, I think we are saying it the third or fourth time, that make sure that there is no silly mistake. You take your time, take 2-3 days, but fill this very correctly. This is the first US government form that you are filling. Your passport is from India, your financial documents will be from India, everything else will be from India. This is the US government form. So write it down somewhere that the DS 160 form cannot have any errors on this. So Sanjay, the question that some of them are asking, is this an online form?
Yes, it's an online form, but one can fill the application form, save it, go back, review it, and then again move forward and finally submit.
So it's kind of like your university applications. It is an online form, but you don't have to fill it and submit it in one sitting. You can fill it, save it, come back to it later. It's exactly like the online university applications forms that you have filled. So you are not required to complete and submit it in one sitting. Okay?
Correct. Right. So once you've filled your form and you've paid the visa application fees, now we have to go towards the visa interview. Right. Now the visa interview, as a matter of fact, is subjective. So what you say, the other person understand could be two different things. Hence, it is important to understand the visa law, the expectations of the visa officer, and his objective of taking the visa interview. I'm sure a lot of students must have seen the blogs and must have read a lot of information and stories on the internet. So the visa law says that any student or any person who is applying for a visa is a potential immigrant until proven otherwise. So you have to show your intentions, A, to go and study there. Hence, you should be very clear on your career goals, what you want to go and study, what is the importance of the US education.
So I think some of you did not catch what Sanjay. Actually, Sanjay is in a different location and I am in a different location, so we cannot switch mics. But I will summarize what he has said. So subjective. Some of you are asking what's the meaning of subjective. So subjective means that it varies from person to person, just like a book or a movie. I may like a movie, somebody else may not like the same movie. Similarly, any interview, because it's in personal interaction. So one visa interviewer might like it, somebody might not like it. So it's very, very subjective. So what you say and what the officer may understand could be two different things. I mean, that's why you should not be taking any risks. So it is very important to understand the visa law, right? So according to the visa law, anybody who is applying for a visa, according to the US law, so that means that person is a potential immigrant. Immigrant means that you want to go and settle in the US. So according to visa law, anybody who is applying for a visa is treated as a potential immigrant unless you are able to convince the visa interviewer otherwise, right? So the whole objective of your visa interview should be, you should convince the visa interviewer that you are not going to the US to settle there. Instead, you are a serious student. So that should be the whole focus of the visa interview, right?
Right. Okay.
So some of you are still typing questions. I would request you not to type in questions right now. Yes, what I'll do is that once we are done with this session, I will go back and repeat whatever we said in the beginning, so that those of you who could not hear Sanjay's voice in the initial portions, you can then catch up, right? Is that okay? Right. So so now how do you convince the visa officer that you are not going there to settle? How do you convince the visa interviewer that you are a serious student? The first point is that you have to be very clear on your career goals, the importance of US education. How will this education help you achieve your career goals? So you should not say that I want to go to the US because US has better jobs, or So those are wrong things to say. You should be more about, okay, your intent should be to go there and study. So at this point of visa interview, you should not be talking about US jobs are higher paying, blah blah blah. Yours should be that, okay, US, this university has very good this department. The whole focus should be on the education aspect of it. So Sanjay, yes, please continue.
Correct. So what Arjuna was saying is absolutely correct, that you need to be very clear on your career plans. The importance of youth education and how to education to achieve your right. So you need to focus on India, because that's how you show that you have intentions of returning back to your home country. Right? Okay. Now the next step is your financial situation. How will you take care of your expenses? So it is very important that your immediate family members, like your father, mother, brother, or sister, should pull in to show that they have enough to take care of your expenses. The visa officers are looking at only the first 1 year of expense, and then how strong your family is here financially. They're not looking at 1.5 of the I-20 amount or 2 years of expense. The officer is interested in only seeing the first 1 year of expense, and then how strong your family is here financially. So you need to carry all these financial documents like fixed deposits, shares, bonds, property papers, tax returns, proof of income, to show that the family is financially stable in India. So that is the visa officer. That means calculating equity amount with your balance. Right? So the financial papers are different for the visa interview and for the admissions. So this has to be separated to understand the process. Yeah.
So, so just to repeat what Sanjay said about the financial situation. So, in the visa interview, you have to show funds only for the first year, right? So, there are some myths that the amount of funds that you have to show will have to be 2 times of the I-20 or this, that. Nothing like that. You have to show that you have enough funds to cover the first year of study. And here it is highly advisable that you show the family funds, that is your parents, your brother, your sister. Not advisable to use distant relatives or friends or whatever. So your objective with the financial documents is to show that your family is financially strong. That you have, again, the whole objective is to convince the visa interviewer that you will come back to India. Whether you will or will not is a different situation, but at the point of the visa interview, your goal should be to convince the visa interviewer that you will come back to India. Now, one way to prove that is that your family has very strong financial situation in India, right? So, so show and FDs, mutual funds, stock options, anything, just show whatever financial situation of your family is, be very be very clear about that, and if you can make a strong case for that, then that's really good. Sanjay, I have a question. I have a question here. How about proper, like land, house, this kind of immovable property? Should they be showing that as well?
Yes, because that shows the ties to the home country.
Okay.
The family is well rooted here.
Okay. So just for you guys, when you were probably sending your documents to your US universities, you were showing only liquid assets, right? So, but for the visa interview, you have to show liquid as well as hardcore property. So again, the objective is to show that your family has a strong base in India. So if you can show land documents, the house, property documents. If your family is into business, then the business balance sheets. Any financial thing of your family, not just liquid assets. The liquid assets part was true only when you were applying for US universities. For visa, everything that your family owns, liquid assets, non-movable assets, everything, right? And Sanjay, I also see a question about bank loans. If the student has taken an educational loan, should he show it or not?
Yes. Now, when we talk about the bank loan or the loan documents, it should not just be the standalone bank document or the loan document. It should be supported with the other documents as well. Like I said, the bank loan can be counted, However, it is also important to show that family is financially stable in India. So it should be coupled with family papers.
So, Sanjay, do you suggest that if they have an option, then not show the bank loan and apply for the bank loan after they get the visa?
That's the best situation,
Okay.
because the officer is looking at family ties,
Right.
financial ties in the home country.
So, I hope you guys understand it, right? That see, to get a bank loan also you have to show collateral, right? So to show the bank to get the bank loan also you will have to give some whatever property documents etc to the bank. So it's advisable that you use those documents to get the visa. After you get the visa, then apply for the bank loan. Okay?
Correct. And when they go in for the visa interview, it is important to carry all original financial papers, but land and house papers can be photocopied. It doesn't have to be originals.
Okay. So just to repeat what Sanjay said, that it's when you are going for the visa interview, then take original bank take all documents original except the property papers. The photocopies can work, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So property papers, photocopies will work. If possible, you can take the original, but if not, then photocopies will work for the property documents. But for bank statements, FD, stock options, all of that take original, right? And yes, I see a question. 1 year funds. Yes, again, 1 year liquid, is enough. If you have the more funds you can show, the better it is. Okay, the higher the amount of financial, property plus liquid. If the higher it is, the better are your chances of getting the visa. But minimum 1 year, technically 1 year is sufficient. Got it?
Correct. Okay. So we move on to the next.
Just one. I saw that some people have joined recently. So just for your information, we will email out the recording of this session. I am assuming that you guys had used the registration page to come here. So we'll whatever email IDs we will have, we'll email this recording of this webinar, so you can refer back later also, right? So there are some specific questions about what is the amount. So the amount what a financial amount, that will vary from university to university. There is no fixed amount, right? Okay, thanks, Shreya. Right? Okay, so moving on.
Okay, now what also happens in financial terms, a lot of people believe that the entire amount should be in the saving bank account, which is not true. For visa, you can show your bank statements, you can show fixed deposits, you can show shares, bonds, mutual funds, all put together should come to the first 1 year of expense, not just the the bank statement.
Right.
And I'm sure when the visa part comes, I'll be counseling them on this also.
So Ishmit, see, we don't care. The visa officer doesn't care how you pay for the remaining 3 years of your education. So let's the objective is to get the visa, and for the visa, I'm repeating, the minimum amount that you have to show with the first year of expense, which varies from university to university. And if let's say the amount is $30,000, so your liquid assets plus property total will have to be $30,000 minimum. But the higher you show, the better are your chances of getting the visa, because that establishes your strong roots to India. Okay? Yes, Manish, for undergrad also, everybody got it?
Right.
Okay, great. So moving on.
Okay. Right, so moving on. So once again, the visa interviewer usually may not see the document.
Okay.
It's very important, I keep repeating myself. Please carry all documents which are not fake, which are authentic.
So Sanjay was just, some of you could not hear. So what Sanjay was again saying is that carry only authentic documents, only genuine. So that is what some of you could not hear, but that is what he was saying, that fake documents can lead not only to a visa rejection but a permanent blacklisting from the US, right? So I don't care who advises you to do what, but if you don't want to get blacklisted forever, then do not carry any non-authentic documents. It's just not worth the risk. Okay? Okay. Srinidhi, your question is valuation, how to show property cost. Okay, there are property documents. There's CA valuation. You can go for that. You can approach a property valuation services carried out by CA. No, it's not necessary to. You do not have to convert it to USD. Indian rupees is enough, because the US whole thing will, the rate keeps on changing.
Hello?
Okay, so moving on.
Yeah,
Moving on, I think.
That, visa only means that a person can travel as far as the port of entry of any country. If a person is going to the US, the visa would only allow him to reach the port of entry, not enter the US.
Okay, Sanjay, there is an interesting question before we go into port of entry. There is a question saying that will there be any medical checkup for first visa application? Well, when I applied, I didn't get it. What is it? Do you need? No, I don't think so. Yeah. There is no medical checkup required for visa application. Okay?
For student visa, there is no medical requirement.
Yeah.
It is a college requirement.
Yeah. The college, I think, which you have anyway submitted the whole immunization form. I'm sure all of you have already submitted that to the university. It is a university requirement. For visa application, no need for any medical checkup or medical test reports or medical history submission. Okay, so let's go to the port of entry. We are running kind of short of time. Yeah.
Correct. So what I meant was like the visa only allows the person to travel as far as the port of entry of that particular country. That does not mean visa does not allow an entry into a country, right? Okay, so there is a saying in visa that you are not in the US until you are in the US. Alright? So which means that at the port of entry, the immigration officer has the right to question you, to check on your documents, to re-examine and take a re-interview, check your luggage and see whether you are able to enter the US or not. Sometimes happens that people still say headphones. When they go in for the interview, they say something else. When they reach the immigration office, they say something else.
Okay, just I think Sanjay, I'll just repeat. I think I'll just repeat what Sanjay is saying, that getting the visa does not mean that you are there in the US. So after the visa, also there's an important step that remains, which is the port of entry interview. So when you travel to the US, let's say that your flight from India, lands in New York, let's say. So New York, the first place in the US where you will be landing, that is called the port of entry. At the port of entry, there is another interview, right? So the immigration officer, he has the right to check your documents, examine your luggage, and he will finally decide whether you will be allowed to enter the US or not. Just because you have a visa does not mean that you will get entry into the US. Okay. So, getting the visa does not mean that your job is done. Now you need to prepare for the port of entry interview also, right? So, and a lot of people are deported or are kind of not given entry into the country, because whatever information they have said or done in the visa interview, they end up forgetting that, and at the time of the immigration officer interview, they end up saying something else. So it's extremely important for you guys to make sure that whatever you are saying, your content, your story needs to be consistent. The visa interview and the immigration interview, the information needs to be consistent.
Correct. Absolutely. There's no way that it should vary, because a lot of consultants will tell you that if you have a relative, don't mention it. People forget, but when they reach America, which will be different under the form, right? So that's the reason I was saying that fill your visa form very carefully, because that is shared each time. That will be the point of reference every time they enter and re-enter.
Yes, Shreya, your question is, can they ask about the amount of cash you are carrying? Yes, they will definitely ask the amount of cash you are carrying. In fact, there was a recent case, I think, in Hyderabad where one student was not allowed to enter the country because he was just carrying $5-10 of cash. So he was, even though he had a valid student visa, he was not given entry to the country, right?
Correct.
So, so yes, the purpose of your, so just to reiterate, whatever you have said in the visa interview, whatever you have said in the visa interview, make sure that the information that you give at the point of immigration, the information should be exactly the same. These are some of the questions an immigration officer may ask you, but they can ask a lot of other things, but these are some very important questions, they most commonly asked questions, I would say. First, they will ask you the purpose of your visit. So, see, you will be traveling long flights, so you might have some jet lag, but that's no excuse. If you are asked why you are in the US, your answer should come up in half a second to study. It should not be about I want to work, or US has better job opportunity. Those, irrespective of how jet lag you are, your answers have to come pat. They should come more like reflex actions. If you start thinking, then it becomes difficult, and how long you plan to stay in the US. So your answer should not be 2-3 years. Your answer should be fixed. Okay, my MS degree is for 2 years, so, and then there's a 1 year of OPT, so minimum 3 years. After that, I plan to do my MBA or PhD, whatever, right? So the answer should be ready and logical. Where will you be staying? So these are answers you should have. And let's say that you are staying at your distant uncle's house. You should not be saying that. Let's remember that you are not, the more number of relatives you talk about in your visa interview or immigration interview, the lesser are your chances of entering the country, right? Parents and brother, sister, that you can't hide, obviously, but chacha ka beta, all of those don't count, all of those don't count, so don't talk about that, right? Then if you have the means to support yourself financially, so remember, your just visa interview, whatever you said, all those documentation, carry photocopies if required. Ultimately they will not have time to look at that, but still you should you should carry. If they ask, you should have all of those ready. If the documents you present match the purpose and intent of your visit, so obviously these are very important things. And these are what should I say? These are some do's and don'ts. But there's another point why we have been saying that do not fake anything, because the moment you have something to hide, it will appear in it will appear on your body language, right? So try not to kind of fake stuff. And how much minimum cash to carry? I mean, just when I went to I had about I had close to 2,000 with me, so close to $2,000 with me. I mean, enough to pay my first I mean, when you go for rent advance, and I had enough cash with me. Not cash. I had a traveler's check. I had different denominations of $10 notes, $1 notes, $20 notes, $50 notes. So I had about $1,000 of cash and the rest of traveler's check. So I mean, you should appear as if you are ready to ready to live in the US. So it does not make sense to go with just $5-10 of cash, right? So no, 5,000 would be too high, right, Sanjay? I think about 1,500, 2,000 should be enough.
That should be good enough, and then they can take one there. So I'll be opening an account, and my parents are going to transfer the money into the account directly. So that they should carry at least $1,500 to $2,000 and some, maybe a card or something which shows that his intentions are their intentions, and they are as to. Also, if the documents you present match the purpose and intent of your visit, it's not good. So some things which carry things which are unnecessary stuff. So they should go as a student, they should look as a student, they should pack the stuff, right? So that is the thing. And of course, their pack and everything, not talk about everything should be safe.
Okay, so what Sanjay was saying is that the documents should match the purpose of your visit. So your I-20, your offer letter, those should be handy with you. So if you are saying that you are going to certain university to do any degree, so that the whole offer letter, if you have got any scholarship, that scholarship letter. So all your documents, they should be ready. And I am also seeing some questions about what should you answer if the person asks, how do you plan to support yourself, right? So if your visa interviewer or if your immigration officer is asking you how do you plan to support your studies, the answer should be, well, my family is funding my education.
Right, my family is going to take care of my
Yeah, don't say that I plan to work part time for 20 hours, 10 hours. Don't say, do not. The fact that you need money, that you do not have enough money to study in the US, that should never ever come. That should never ever. I mean, they should not ever find that out, right? So you say that my family is funding, or if you have your own savings, you can say that. That I have my own savings, and remember you would have used all the financial documents of your family to get the visa, right?
Correct.
Being fake is different than submitting fake documents, right? It's not about being fake. I mean, if your family had the money, you would have, but it's not submitting fake documents, right?
Yeah, correct. Right. So now, if we can move on, to prepare for the entry into the US.
Right. So, moving on.
So once, right.
Okay, can everybody? I think Aditya can't hear us. Rest of you, can you guys hear? Okay, so Viju, we answered that how much cash should you carry? So carry about $1,500 to $2,000 cash with you in different denominations. That means about $21 notes, about some $5 notes, some $10 notes. So in different denominations, carry some cash, and it will anyway be helpful to you, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
So now the entry preparation. There are few ways you can prepare for entering in the US. Yes.
Right. So, I mean, make sure that, of course, you need to have a valid passport. You have your signed I-20. You need to have your visa, of course. Then you must carry the evidence of financial support that was submitted. And don't put these documents in the check-in baggage. Have these documents. Right? And also, when you enter the US, you're not carrying anything which is a restricted item. If you go to the websites of the airlines, you'll know what are the restricted items. And then your school official's name should be handy with you. They would give you a contact number, emergency contact number, that should be handy. You should make a list of these documents when you carry. And when you enter at the port of entry, there'll be a form called I-94 that you have to fill. It's an online form. And it's the application form.
So just to repeat what Sanjay was saying, that in your carry bags, in a separate folder if possible, have these documents ready. Your passport, the signed I-20 form, visa, and all originals, of course. The visa will be in your passport only. So I mean, it's the same thing. As I said, evidence of financial support, right? How you will be funding your documents. At this stage, at the point of immigration, photocopies are fine, right? And do not put these documents in your checked baggage. So there should not be this should be in your carry-on baggage, if possible in a separate folder. And also carry a couple of pens with you, so that you have you can fill out the necessary forms wherever possible. Do not take restricted items. Now if you if you go to any, let's say you are traveling by Air India, so on Air India website you will get a list of restricted items for the US. So so just make sure that you are not carrying any of them. It's just not worth the risk, right? So do not carry any restricted items. I'm sure nobody does that, but just to make sure that by mistake you should not be carrying any restricted items. So go to the airline website and check out the list of the restricted items. It's a very long list, so we are not going to discuss it here, and the list is easily available on the airline websites. Also,
for example,
yes, Sanjay.
Yeah, for example, if somebody is suffering from some ailment and they're carrying some medicines. So it could be restricted unless you have a prescription from the doctor. It's as simple as that. And then various other things are there.
Right.
So make sure that you...
Right. So one of my students, just good that Sanjay reminded. So one of my students, he had diabetes. So so you had that acute check, the blood sugar measuring device. So he had that with him. So of course he faced some problems, but luckily he had the doctor's original prescription, so that was fine. If he had not had, if he did not have that, that prescription, then he would have probably not got it, right? So so if you're carrying any medication, then make sure that it's that you have the prescription for it, and unless you have a prescription, no point in carrying medicine in your cabin bag. So Harsh, hand baggage means when you travel by airline, so some of the bags are called checked in. That means you don't have it with you in the airplane. The airline takes care of that luggage, and then you will be allowed one bag to carry with you inside the airplane. That is called the hand baggage. Okay. And the last point is that when you get your offer letter, everybody has got your admission letter or your I-20. So there is the name and the contact information of the university, and also a 24-hour emergency contact phone number of the university where you are going to, right? So have those handy, write it out in a piece of paper, or even if you have the offer letter or I-20 with you, circle those details, so that if the immigration officer asks you, so you should not get nervous and you should not start fumbling. So I would strongly advise that you write it out separately: the name of the university, the address of the university, the contact information, and the 24-hour emergency telephone number. Okay. Okay, so in the US, all universities are called schools, so that's school. But we don't mean your school. We mean the university that you are going to. Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the information that we want to share. We can have a Q&A, right?
So I think before we go to the Q&A, let me just quickly repeat the initial portions of the session, where I think some of you joined late and some of you were not able to hear clearly initially. So let me just go over that. Okay, so this is at the very initial step. Just make sure that you take these exams. There are a lot of universities in the US where probably they will give you admission even if you do not write GMAT, GRE, TOEFL, but going to those universities reduces your chances of getting a visa. Why? The reason is that these are differentiators. Tons of hundreds, thousands of Indian students apply for the US visa, US student visa. So the students who have apparently worked hard, spent money to prepare for these exams, they are viewed as more serious students. So if they have to choose between somebody who has not taken a GRE, and if they have to choose and somebody who has taken the GRE, they will always go for the student who has taken the GRE. So taking these exams shows the seriousness of your intent as a student. Ultimately, at the visa interview, you have to prove that you have that you're a serious student and you are going to the US to study. So having these exam scores, it helps to establish that fact, right, Sanjay? Okay. Next is the university selection. While selecting universities, it should be based on the quality of college. A lot of students that we counsel, they say that they are going to a certain university because their seniors were there, or because their relative lives in that town, or the weather is good. So all those are very wrong reasons. So basically you should be very clear. The quality of college should be the number one reason why you are applying to that university, and you should be clear about what you are going to study. So let's say you are doing a bachelor's degree in computer science, so you and your master's degree, you should be going to for MS computer science. It should not be something like, okay, let me just go there and decide. So that does not help, right? And if the visa interviewer asks you that, okay, within computer science, what do you like better or what do you prefer? So you should have those answers ready. So your seriousness as a student, again, that also comes true when you are talking about a specific specific specialization that you are interested in or some specific domain that you want to pursue. And they will also ask you about career goals, like what do you want to do about after your MS, or what do you want to do after your PhD, or what do you want to do after undergrad. So you should also have your career goals ready. So you should not say that I want to do a job. So that's not good enough. What industry do you work in? Do you plan to come to India? So your career goals should be should be clear. Then the next point was that this again I said selection must not be based on location of your relatives, whether low cost affordability. So yes, low cost affordability on a personal front, this budget, this can be your reason for choosing a college, but this is not what you are going to tell your visa interviewer, right?
Correct.
Now, some students, what they do is that they apply to only one college for whatever reason. And or if they have their some relatives in a certain state, so they apply to the colleges of only that state. So that is a sure shot way of getting a rejection. So never focus on only one state or one college. Okay. So to apply, and another important thing is that apply to colleges that have common qualities. For instance, if you are applying for MS Mechanical in one college, MS Electrical in another college, so that is very confusing. Or if you are applying to like say colleges that are low cost, let's say, so then all the colleges should, or if you are applying to colleges that give out more scholarships, so whatever the quality that you are going for, that should come across in all the colleges that you have applied to, right? And for some reason, now this is a well, Vijay interviewer knows that, so you don't have to worry about that. Another thing, just for some reason, let's say that you have a brother who works in Philadelphia and you want to go to Philadelphia. So what we suggest students to do is that at the application stage, apply to multiple colleges, in different states. Get 3-4 admission offers. After you get 2-3 admission offers and I-20s, then finally go to the college in Philadelphia, no problem. But at the point of visa interview, you will have you are in a position to show multiple admission offers, and you can always say that I applied to a whole bunch of colleges and then I am going to the best of the lot, right? So that's one strategy that you can do, right? So Suman, rankings, there's no difference between something ranked 24 and ranked 32, but overall, it's important, to apply to good colleges, top 200 colleges, definitely, right? Okay, so I think from this part onwards it was clear. Any questions still here? So Ganesh, your question is should we wear coats, ties? No, I don't think so. Clean, semi-formal clothes are fine, So Itachi, your question is you do not have your surname on your passport. That is perfectly fine. A lot of students don't have it. That is okay. Indian passport sometimes don't, right? Mihir, your question is I am from Gujarat and if I book visa interview for Chennai, is it fine? Sanjay?
Basically, it depends on the person's profile. If the profile is good, then they should go to Mumbai. It's very individualistic. If they go to Chennai, they can go to Chennai, but then they have to give an answer why have they come to Chennai.
Right.
And
So and again, I am seeing a lot of questions about tuition fees. So no, tuition fees, you do not have to submit your tuition fees before you get the visa. Vijay already said that having multiple I-20 is good, is definitely good, right? So Sanjay, it's an interesting question. This Tejas is asking that does it count if we have any student visa refusal before for other countries?
not really.
Say it again.
Refusals don't matter.
Okay.
Let's say a person applied to Canada, got refused.
Yeah, that's okay.
And now he wants to go to, that's okay. That makes a difference.
Okay, so it does not make any difference. So let's say you applied to Canada and you got rejected, so that's fine, the other country rejections don't matter. Ishmeet has a question. I already had a US tourist visa which expired years ago. My parents still have it. Do I need to, so does it matter tourist visa expiration? No, right? US.
That makes a difference, but he has to fill a new form.
Yeah. So Ishmeet does not matter if a tourist visa had expired, it's perfectly fine. Okay, there's a question saying that from Harshin, who is saying that I have a 10 years tourist visa for US. I have already been there 3-4 times. Would it act as an asset? Will it?
It is neutral. It all depends what was your purpose of visit, how long did you stay there, and if you're going back to the same state where you've already visited, they in fact be counterproductive.
Okay, so did you get that? So let's say you had a student visa and you travel to New York a couple of times and now you are going to a university in New York, so that can actually be negative. So if you did have a tourist visa, then and if you visited other different locations of the US, that is okay, right?
Correct. It's very neutral.
Yeah, okay. But it's still having tourist visa does not make your chances better, by the way,
No, it doesn't.
Because student visa is a totally different type of visa. Having a tourist visa for the US does not improve your chances, right? Animesh, no, for I-20 you do not have to submit tuition. I-20 comes that's whatever tuition and all for US universities you have to go and pay there. US universities you do not have to pay any tuition unless you join the university. So there are some questions. I changed my name in engineering and have all certified documents. Will there be any hassles? In my opinion, no hassles. There are no hassles. Yeah. Then some of the questions are repeating. Does it count to have visa of other allied countries of US? I don't think so. No, it does. It doesn't matter which country's visa you have, whether they're allies or enemies of US, doesn't really matter. So
doesn't make a difference.
Danish, your question is, my name is printed as MD Danish Jafar on passport. Is it okay or do I need to be changed to Mohammed? I think it's okay. It's okay. That is okay. Anyway, whatever name is in your passport, you are going to have it in your GRE, TOEFL, your I-20. So it's important not to now go and change your passport name. It will kind of confuse only. So whatever name you have on the passport, anyway, it's going to be there in the rest of the documents. Aparna has a question. If the visa interviewer asks me, do you have any relatives living in the US? How do I go about that? So from my experience, if you have your brother, sister, mother, father staying, you should say yes. Others that US actually the visa interview does not even take other relatives into consideration, right, Sanjay?
Other relatives doesn't take a difference, like a cousin, brother, or some uncle, brother. Unless your father, mother, brother, sister, you must mention. Rest doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. So basically, father, mother, brother, sister, you have to mention. So mention truthfully. Other relatives, actually in India we have all these extended relatives and families and all of that. So I would say that you no need to. So they are actually not even counted as relatives. So don't say anything. Anand has a question. Do you have to show any documents if you have visited or lived in other countries as well?
Your passport would say that. In any case.
Yeah. True. True. The passport will have that information. You do not have to submit any other separate documentation.
Correct. The form will say if you lived anywhere outside your home country, so you got to mention yes.
Yeah. So Nayan has a question. Does it matter if your tourist visa was rejected to the US?
Not really. It doesn't matter. But it depends, when was it applied, what was the purpose, and what is the purpose now. So we have to see all those. But a rejection doesn't make a difference. As long as, like I said, you're consistent. If you mention something else on your tourist visa form and now you're mentioning something else, then it will be counterproductive.
Okay.
But if the information is consistent, it should not make any difference.
So, so Sanjay, if somebody has a tourist visa or had a tourist visa earlier, the person, does he still need to fill a fresh DS 160 form?
Yes, each time when you're applying for a visa, and especially a different category visa,
Okay.
then you have to fill. Yeah.
So those of you who have tourist visa or had tourist visas that expired or whose tourist visa was rejected or anything, you still need to submit the DS-160 form. In fact, any time you apply for any visa in the US, you will have to submit a fresh DS-160. Right?
Correct.
Nishtha's question is, any form need to be filled at the, yes, so I think Sanjay already covered that. At the port of entry, you need to fill out the I-94, right?
Correct, absolutely.
Right. So Nishtha, the form's name is I-94. So you will get it in the airplane, inside the airplane. Once you're about to land, the airline staff will start distributing that form. Sushant, question is, does it affect if we have a letter of recommendation from a US native? No, it does not at all. It does not help, or it does not do harm or nothing. It does not do anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ishmit's question is, if I need to work after studies, so how to answer the question of intention of immigration? Could I talk about internship?
Okay. Okay, see, now what happens is that, the visa officer also understands that sitting over there would like to work, right? At this point of time, he's looking at it, returning back. If he's asking specifically, would you like to work there? So the answer has to be no. I would want to come back and work in my home country. If the officer is asking about the OPT, Optional Practical Training, then the answer is that OPT is an integral part of the US education system, which allows every international student to practice what they've learned in the classroom. So I'd like to take the advantage of that before coming back to India.
Okay, so does it, I hope everybody heard it, it's very important. So if the visa interview asks you specifically that do you intend to work in the US, the answer should be categorical no, that no, I plan to come back and work in India, right? And last year actually one of my students, he was asked again by the visa interview that you will be spending close to $80,000 in your US education, and you are planning to work in India. How do you plan to make make all that money in your currency? So in that case, he gave a very smart answer. He said that, well, my education is an investment. And in India nowadays, if you check out, the salaries are actually, salaries I'll be earning in Indian rupees, but I will also be spending in Indian rupees and staying with my family. So I will be making, far more money. So you have to be, so anyway, as we said in the initial stages, the visa, do not take the visa, casually. It always helps to take the services of a professional. I cannot risk. So yes, Kunal, you can say that you can do your PhD, but actually it is perfectly fine to say that you and they will ask you then why did you not apply for PhD directly? So you can say then you can say that, well, I would first like to have some research papers under my belt and then apply for PhD to better a college. So you can always say that. So Pawan, I missed your question. What was your question regarding social media? Can you repeat your question, Pawan?
Yeah, so it says that, do the visa officers scan through the social media accounts? No, they don't.
Yeah, no, Pawan, they don't. They don't check out your Facebook profiles if that's your question.
Yeah, now what is happening is if you're using words like, which are derogatory, so, they have a system where it catches all those kind of things. So one has to be, in fact, very careful, even in India or anywhere, to use the social media very carefully. They should not be talking about various things, which are in contradiction with what's happening in the world, but they don't go and scan all those things.
So Ishmit, yes, just like somebody can go for their PhD after their MS, so also after the undergrad you can go for your MS, right? And another thing, I would ask you guys to be, be safe rather than sorry. So till you get your visa, I would not, just to be on the safer side, I would not post anything on Facebook profile saying, oh, can't wait to reach US and enjoy. I would avoid such posts just to be on the safe side till you get the visa. Just try to come across as a serious student or looking forward to a great education,
I will have a great life in America. You know.
Yeah, nothing like nothing like waiting to party in the US. Just try to, as I said, well, it's better to be safe than sorry. So on your Facebook profiles, just no need to be especially jubilant. You can party after you get the visa. Okay.
After you get to the US.
right. So let's do one thing. All of you see the email ID on your screen. So if you have any questions, please type it there. Shreya, I don't understand. What was your question regarding the OPT part? So
I want the OPT part. Okay. OPT, yes. OPT is like, optional practical training, integral part of the US education system, which allows every international student to practice what they've learned in the classroom. So I would like to take the advantage of OPT before coming back to India.
So Anand, the OPT is not only for the OPT is there for any degree, any degree that you apply for in the US, you get an OPT. So it's not specific to anything. Anand, again some other Anand, your business visa was rejected. Will that affect my student visa? Just like tourist visa story, it will not. So whether it's your business visa rejected or tourist visa rejected, so that's different from the student visa. Shreya, the OPT, the word is optional, right? But it is something that you get along with the degree. So if you can go for it, so it does not. So there's a difference, And internship is a part mandatory. Let me put it this way: unless you do an internship, you do not get your degree. But your OPT you do after you get the degree. So you getting the degree or not getting the degree, you're getting the degree is not is not dependent on whether you do the OPT or not. I hope that clarifies it, right? Ganesh has a question: what to do if they reject us? When to appear again? So if your first of all, you have to be positive, that your visa will not get rejected. If you do whatever we have told you to do today, your visa will not get rejected. So, right, and in case it does get rejected, then you apply again. Of course, you can apply after after a couple of months. All the best, and I really apologize. Actually, Sanjay and I are in different locations. So you guys did face some problem hearing Sanjay, but I hope at the end you were able to get all the information that we set out to give you. If there is any question, then please email us. We'll get back to you.